Welcome back to Faith and Fire, where we have conversations that are open, authentic about faith and how it shows up in our everyday lives. So today we're going to be talking about faith in business, but specifically how faith shows up when your business is struggling. So to have that conversation today, we have Joi back with us again, Greg, and Sheriee. So I'm going to let each person introduce themselves so that way you can share a little bit about who you are. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about your connection with faith, and then maybe slide in what your business is. So that way we have that context. Okay. So since you're our veteran, Joi, let's go ahead and start with you.
I love sharing about faith because over the years my faith has changed. But I'd say my faith starts at birth. I grew up in church. I grew up Church of God in Christ, strong Holy Ghost filled family. So I'd say I grew up knowing what to do, knowing the right things to do and say. But my faith didn't really develop until I became older and mature enough to go through things to where I really had to rely on that faith. Sometimes when you're younger, you know what to do, but it's until you get in those dire situations and you realize, like, man, all I have is God, and I'm calling on God. But I've changed over the years. Although I grew up Church of God in Christ, being older now, I do attend the Church of God in Christ church. My faith is still very strong, still very Holy Ghost filled. But I really don't. I try not to say Christian. I try not to put too many titles when I'm talking about faith, because sometimes that will drive people to believe in some things. So I really just try to attach my faith to being Christ-like. Like I'm very much so like Christ, but I don't want to put any titles on it. But if you think about Jesus and you think about how he thought, how he moved, and the way he did things, that's where my faith is. And it's all throughout my business, Anointed Hands Tax II, Inc. We're a bookkeeping, accounting, and tax firm dedicated to small businesses, but we're really dedicated to really showing some faith to business owners, just even in the sense of taxes and their understanding. So, yes.
Okay, Miss Sheriee.
Okay. I was raised in a Baptist church, small little Baptist church in Tucson, Arizona. And as I got older, I kind of transitioned into like non-denominational. I am a bona fide Jesus freak. So, I worship, God. But when you say that, a lot of people, that can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. So I like to just emphasize that I am a Jesus freak. Jesus is the center of my all. He is my source, my friend, my everything, and the reason for why I live and do what I do. My business is, I have a production company called UBREAKIFX Productions. I primarily was writing and producing web series and short films, and now I'm working on producing my very first television show. And I also have a tech startup called StrmShp, which is a streaming platform for shoppable shows. So you're watching a show and you're like, oh, that shirt is cute. You click on the shirt, add it to your cart, and then when the show's over, you check out. Or you can check out right then and there and then get back to watching your show, however you want to do it. Whatever floats your boat. That's currently in the beginning process of development. And yeah. That's kind of, and faith is just everything in my life, like my journey. We'll get into that in a minute, but yeah, I'm sure we'll cover that.
Awesome. Well, thank you for kind of sharing that piece. And so our newest guest to the table is Greg. So Greg, I'd love to hear a little bit about you. What is your connection with faith, and what's your business?
My connection with faith started with the Baptist church in Chicago before I moved out here to Phoenix, Arizona in 2004. I would say my connection to faith is strong. However, I do have like problems of not like being fully committed to the faith and having doubts, especially right now with the struggles that my business is going through. And the business is cell phone repair for UBREAKIFIX. It's a franchise. So I have 2 locations here in the Valley.
Okay. And I love that you call that out, because I think that this that's what these conversations are all about. We're all in different places in our faith journey. And in our previous episode, I had a really great conversation, and I just love Sheree's light. And when I think about where I want my faith to go and my authentic expression of faith, I see kind of my faith goals in her in terms of, I know she like, wait a minute, but that's the point.
Wait till you hear the struggle.
Right?
Like, you might not want it.
She said, just pause. But I think that's the thing, right? We're all in different places in our faith journey, and it's okay. And it's okay to be where you're at, and it's okay to want to be where you want to be. And so I love that you're like, this is where I'm at today. And that's real.
It's definitely a struggle.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about that. You each talked a little bit about your businesses, and we've had some conversations in the past on this podcast where we talked about business in general, right? What kind of faith what does it take to start a business? What does it take to manage your finances, and how that relates, not just your personal life, but also business. So this one's really about that faith it takes when your business is struggling. And so, as an entrepreneur myself, I feel like this is going to be a stupid question, but I'm going to ask it anyways.
No such thing.
No such thing as stupid question? Okay, let's see what you think after I ask it. Have you ever had a struggle in your business? And if so, like, I'd love to hear a little bit about that moment for you.
I can start. Anointed Hands Tax, we've been around since 2012, and I love to kind of share our testimony of growth because for me, although I'm a college graduate and I'm very strong at math and my analytical skills, I didn't know how to run a business. I knew how to do the work, but it takes much more than your skill to run a successful business. So in our early years, there were so many struggles, and a lot of struggles were in the operations, I'd say, and just me not being experienced as a business owner. So not knowing that I needed contracts, not knowing to try to take the payment before doing the work, all of these things. But they were growing pains, I'd say, in those struggling moments. And there were a lot of years of struggle. And then you have to keep in mind, for me, this was a side hustle. So where others would have taken it more serious and put other things in place to kind of help during these struggling times, for me, it was just like, oh, it's just extra money. But once the side hustle became full time, that's when I had to really, buckle down and say, okay, I can be great at doing the taxes, great at the math, but this business is going to fail if I don't get a hold of the operations and how we're actually doing business, the customer service, things like that. So sometimes we have to go back. And for me, I struggled for years. I didn't struggle with doing the work because I was efficient there, but just operations wise, getting paid, submitting returns. I made so many mistakes, but just now being able to look back, being accountable and just kind of seeing how my faith, even in those struggling moments kind of brought me out to get where I am now, just like extremely confident because I got through those moments. I've gotten through audits from just making a mistake, but when you go through and you get through them, I think that is what makes your faith that much stronger because you see, oh man, I'm a conqueror.
Yeah.
Like I can get through anything now.
So it sounds like over time, it really had an immensely positive impact on your faith in terms of really giving you a lot of encouragement about being able to get over. What was it like in the moment?
In the moment, you know what? When they say we're our hardest critics, so I'm very hard on myself. And I remember in those moments just doubting myself, feeling like maybe I'm not supposed to be doing this. Maybe I need to let this go. Maybe I'm not smart enough for this. Maybe, I need to leave this to the experts. But self-doubt, I remember just having a lot of self-doubt in those struggling moments, doubting myself, not being confident in myself. But each time I would go to God, and there were cries like no cries before because I'm a strong woman, y'all. But I would cry out, just really give him my heart and have him feel the hurt that I was feeling. And every single time I would always get like a word from him, like a word just in those desperate, when I was at my most desperate times of just feeling like giving up, of just feeling like I don't want to do it anymore. He would always come to me. He would come to me, whether he came to me, whether I remember one time I was in a crying moment of wanting to give up, and I got done praying and I looked at my phone and had a potential client, like a text message. So it's always a moment for me of clarity for him. I always have a clarifying moment of realizing, okay, God, don't give up. This is where you should be confident. You are meant to be doing this, what you're doing.
Wow. I hear you say, like, has that been it for you too?
Yeah. First of all, for any entrepreneur to say that they don't struggle that's just not, they're not in business. I don't even know. Like, this journey is such a roller coaster. Like, you go through every single emotion. I mean, and it could be overnight. Like, 1 minute I'm in the fetal position crying, and the next day I am like overjoyed, or vice versa. Like, that's when you really feel like you're crazy, right? 1 minute you're like overjoyed, and then the very next minute you are like crying, boohoo crying because of a loss or a betrayal or a, whatever. And so, yeah, the struggle is real. And so, yeah, I don't even know where to begin. So I'll let somebody else talk. I'll just pick it back.
Hey, when you start talking about the struggle, you like, Lord, come through. It's a lot going back to those memories.
It's not even memories. Let me tell you. Okay, real time. Like, I am in a struggle right now, right? Because as I said on the other podcast, I don't know when this is going to air, but the other podcast, like in 2019, the Lord led me to quit my job to pursue my tech startup full time. And he said, this is a promotion, not a demotion, right? And so the whole time for a solid, like, up until I moved to Phoenix a year ago, he's come through. I felt like I was like the Israelites in the wilderness, and he just had manna. I had more than enough money coming through. For the most part, I had money. Or my bills were taken care of. I had, COVID relief for my rent. And, in LA, the rent is crazy. And then when I got here, he was like, okay, now you're in the promised land. And I was like, yeah, I got milk and honey. The land flowing with milk and honey. I'm ready. No.
You said, where's the milk and honey? Is it in the cabinet? Because I can't find it.
Yeah, the struggle is real. I mean, it's been a struggle all throughout, but right now, like real time, the struggle is, it's real, like, because I thought stuff was just going to pop off. And while I have had things happen, right, I filmed the teaser for my show, but now it's like, okay, Sheriee, now you got to get these people paid. Yeah. Okay, Lord, where's the money coming from? Like, you have provided like crazy in the last season of my life. Like, you told me to do this. Yeah. Like, this is what you told me to do. And this is your promise. Like, I need some help here. And so now it's like, all right, Lord. And now it's like, okay, not even that, but it's like, I'm going to be for real with y'all. So like, I have moved like, I'm telling all my business, but I've moved like 3 times in the last year since I've been here. I have, now I live with my mom. I've had my car repoed. I'm like, what is this? Is not the business. This is not what I signed up for. But I also am one of those who every dollar that I get goes right back into my businesses, right? So I will sacrifice paying my rent to make sure that, which I did, sacrifice my rent being paid so that I can make sure people were paid, or, let my car get repoed because I got to feed my babies. My businesses are my babies. But it's like, Lord, but you told me to do this. And that saying where God guides, he provides. I'm like, you told me to move to Arizona. I had no intentions on leaving LA. Like, and you confirmed it after, confirmation. I know that I'm supposed to be here. And like you said, just like when I start questioning, he's like, nope, remember this? Nope, I told you to be here. No, you're right where you're supposed to be. And so now it's like, okay, I've gotten this part-time job. And even in this part-time job, like the Lord is just like showing me like, yep, this is exactly where you're supposed to be. Like he's showing me, because I'm like, what's taking so long, Lord? Like, I don't even get it. Like you told me to do this. That's where the struggle is. Yeah. For me, the struggle is like, did I miss it? Did I do something wrong? Like, why is this taking forever? Like, what is going on? And like you said, just when I'm ready to give up, he'll confirm it. Like, yep, like you said, something will pop up on my phone, something, a billboard, somebody will text me, somebody will call me, I'll read something, or even just in my word, or a worship song will come on right in that moment. That's like, you got it, you're right where you're supposed to be. And so, yeah. And so, yeah, I'll stop there because I could go on and on. But yeah, right now, like in the struggle, it's, has you question when you're in the struggle. It has you question everything. And I think everybody goes through the struggle of some sort. It doesn't all look the same. Everybody's struggle is different. But as entrepreneurs in business, like if you're a business owner, you're going to struggle. That's just part of the journey.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I look at how brightly your face still shines. And I'm like, girl, how do you even do it? How do you not let it get personal about God, about your faith as you're going through? Or even, I guess it almost is personal, but in the opposite way, right? It's personal in that, like, no, God's got me.
Yeah. That's really what it is. It's like, I know we were talking about in the last podcast, like intimacy, right? It's about relationship. So I remember who I am. Like, I'm his daughter. Like, think about it. Like, I'm his child. I'm his daughter. And you told me to do this. And it's a promise. It's not an if, it's a when. Right? Like he told the Israelites, when you enter the promised land, when you enter the land the Lord your God has given you, when. So it's a matter of when. So I hold on to that when. And Lord, you will not, like, this is why it's so important to read your word, right? Because that's what encourages me. It's like I go back and I look at people in the Bible. I say people because they're not characters. This is not some fictional story, right? So when I look at people in the Bible, I'm like, that's what it encourages me, right? That's like his word never returns void. And if he said it's going to happen, it's going to happen, right? So for me, I just have to hold on in that. Like, it's taken forever. And don't get it twisted. Right now, my light might be shining, but tomorrow I might be in a fetal position crying. Like, don't get it twisted. So, but yeah, it's really about relationship and knowing like who I am, and not even who I am, who he is.
Yeah.
Right? Really. This is not even about who I am. It's about who he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then to your point, I feel like I need to redevelop my relationship to God and to faith, to belief, because the current struggles I'm going through are all mainly financially, because it's like just mismanagement and, cash flow stops, but employees still need to get paid. Rent for the business still need to get paid. Personal finances needs to still get paid, and everyone wants their money on time. So that's been my problem. It's like not committing or not being able to go through it because of the struggles with the business. It's like, Lord, I'm here every day. I'm working. I'm fighting. I'm late to the podcast because I'm at the store working. So it's just been hard to like really stay committed and just stay focused and stay believing, because yesterday I woke up and I was literally crying. I was crying. I reached out to a couple of people in the family for just like words of encouragement. They didn't answer. So I had to clean my face, get ready for work, and walk out the door because life doesn't stop. And that's the hard part too. It's like I'm going through all this, but somebody else is going through what they're going through. So it's like, how can I continue to push forward and continue to have that belief without giving up? Because every day, currently, I feel like I want to give up, and I want to be on the flip side to where it's all bright and joy. But right now, it's like it's really hard to like stay grounded and find happiness because it's a struggle.
Yeah. I totally get, I am 100% in your exact position. Like, people are emailing me and like, yo, like, being patient, but like, yo, reminder, invoice, reminder, just any update? Are we getting like, or, like, when's the show coming out? When can we see the teaser? Or, like you got, and then like you said, you got personal bills. I got personal bills, right? I know the struggle, and it's like, I always feel like, and it's things like this that remind me that I'm not alone, because it's so easy to feel like nobody understands. Nobody knows what I'm going through. Y'all don't even get it. It's only other entrepreneurs that get it. And that is what I found. And, like I have some friends that are, they dabble in business, right? Or it's their side hustle. So it's not, they don't feel the pain. Like, but when you're in it, all the way in it, and that's all you do, it's hard and it's lonely. That's the struggle. It's so lonely. Like when you are crying and you just need that word of encouragement, right? And there's nobody around. Or even if you tell somebody, they don't get it. They're like, well, you just need to hang that up, and you got skills. You could go back to the bank, right? It's like,
but it's the understanding that they don't relate to.
Right.
Like, it's just the relativity. And
right.
I have so much, I guess, fog, like, in decision making right now, just because of the struggles with the business, because I don't want to overcommit or commit to anything that's potentially not gonna, be best for the business, just because I don't know which direction to go right now.
Yeah. Like, what do you do when you're in that situation, though? Like, it's so real. And I love that you called that out, though, because I have a few friends that are entrepreneurs that I call, and we call each other when we're struggling, because nobody understands it who hasn't gone through it the way. Like, your friends can totally try to empathize, and they can be amazing people, but it's a different journey, this entrepreneurial journey. And even my entrepreneurial friends of faith, they're even that next step further in terms of being able to offer me that good advice, that good, like, girl, I get it. Like, and so what do you do with that in that place when you feel like giving up? You've cried so many tears, you don't even know, like, you don't lost count. Maybe you should have had a bucket, because then you could at least know about how much. But like,
girl, I've cried an ocean of tears, honestly.
Yeah.
I have. But I've also, the flip side is that I've also, like, had moments of joy, right? And so, yeah, it is hard. And like you said, even your friends that are people of faith, like, they don't even always get it, right?
Yeah.
They just, I don't know. It's hard to find people that truly relate to what you're going through, even faith-filled people, because you have those faith-filled people. Like, the way so now, like, seeing shoppable stuff on TV is like, you're starting to see QR codes and stuff like that. So it's a little bit, but when I launched in 2019, or I didn't even launch, but when I came up with the idea in 2019, it was still like it was too early for the market. So it was like the Lord was showing me, like, I'm building an ark. I'm building Noah's ark, like, and there's never been rain. Noah built the ark, and there had never been rain. So what do you mean it's going to rain? What is rain?
Yeah.
Right. And so it's like, who do I talk to? Like, there's not even a mentor for this.
Yeah.
Lord, like, I don't even have a mentor that I can say, oh, you built this shoppable streaming platform that's successful. Like, so it's trying to find somebody to talk to in those hard moments, or when I'm believing so big in faith. And then I have friends or family members who are logical. They might be faith-filled, but that just doesn't make sense. Or being realistic, Sheriee, realistically, that just doesn't, like, add up. Or logically, it's like,
yeah.
As Mike Todd says, crazy faith. My journey is such a crazy faith journey. I struggle with finding people to relate to regularly.
I love that you say that, because whenever I try to explain to people, because I'm on business number 3 or 4 now, and I tried to explain to people, they were like, well, where did this come from? And, like, well-meaning people. And I have trouble with, like, how do I even explain to someone God just dropped the vision in my spirit, and, like, I just knew everything. Like, even this podcast, they're like, okay, so where did it come from? And they expect me to be like, well, I always knew I wanted to No, I didn't know. I thought I was going to have a podcast about being bougie and throwing events and, like, being all glamorous. That's what I thought this was going to be. And then I didn't have a voice. I couldn't come up with topics. I couldn't come up with anything. And I was like, why can't I find my voice? And then all of a sudden he just placed the whole thing in my spirit. I knew the title. I knew the format. I knew what we were going to talk about. I done planned out the first episodes all the way through March.
That's all Jesus.
Yes, that wasn't me. And so when someone asked me, like, where did this come from? I'm like, God. Like, God, but like, I don't know how to explain it where you gonna get it, but like, crazy faith. It takes that crazy faith. It takes knowing, like, this is what it's supposed to be. It takes somebody saying, well, no, I don't think that's the title, because A, B, C, D, E, F, G logically. And I'm like, nope, I checked. That's what he wanted me to name it. I'm like, I'm sorry that it doesn't resonate with you. Like, I'm sorry it's not catchy and everybody's not going to click on it, because, it sounds like I got some tea. But it's faith and fire, because that's what it is.
But don't shy away from saying it's God. I say, because what I've realized is that's how he gets the glory. If you're like, oh, well, and you're trying to clean it up.
Right.
Clean it up. It's like, but then he doesn't get the glory, and he gave you your playlist, right? Yep. He gave you the title. So to be like, and try to dumb it down, it's like, no, he did.
Yeah. And that's why I'm not changing it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Like, so if it's a slow burn and it's going to not blow up overnight, but people are going to forward it to a friend who's going to forward it to a friend, and those friends take maybe a year or two to find it, then that's what he intended for this work.
But maybe it's only just for one person, or maybe it's just for us here in this room, and we needed to encourage each other.
I'm sitting here and I'm like thinking, I feel like I'm here to encourage y'all. Because what you guys are saying, that's where I was in 2019 and 2020. And it was a real test of my faith because I was struggling. And I've talked about this with you, Jessica. It was just in 2020. I was getting the unemployment. I was getting the EBT. I was getting everything that I could for assistance because I wasn't making no money. Nothing was coming in. So it was a struggle. But when I go back and I think about how I beat that struggle, the first thing I would like, my advice for you guys would be to talk to God and see what he wants you to get out of this experience. Usually when God is taking you through something, he's trying to teach you. He's trying to show you something about yourself. Mm-hmm. It's not in the business. It's not in the world. It's something about you that he's trying to show you. And I think for me, just speaking about myself, before the struggle, I thought I had it all. I thought I had it all. I was married. I bought my house when I was 24. I had 2 kids. Both of my kids had the same daddy. I thought I had it all. I thought I built this life that everybody wanted to have, and I thought I was good. And so sometimes you get in these moments and God has to take you away from that.
Humble
you to figure out that you don't got it all. The people that you look down on thinking you couldn't relate to being a single mother. Well, hey, here you are now in single motherhood. So I had to find out what God was trying to teach me about myself in those struggling times because I was doing everything right. I was paying my tithe. I was putting in the work. I'm working 24 hours a day, working every day, vending events, marketing on you name it. I was doing everything and it was still a struggle. So it's like, what is this, God? But I found myself in a moment of realizing that God had to show me something. He had to humble me to show me that, no, your stuff do stank. You're not better than anybody else. And when I got it and I figured out that's what God wanted to show me, I became more of a servant leader. And that's how I beat my struggle.
I love that.
I began giving all the people that I thought I was better than, I began giving to those people. I just began giving back. And no, it's not always money. Sometimes it's time. It's time, giving my expertise, just finding ways. And so 2019, I struggled. 2020, I remember I was on a mission all 2020 to just determine how can I give? What can I do? How can I be a resource? How can I go teach here? How can I go? And being in that mindset is what led to me coming out of the struggle and growing from that. Like once I understood what the struggle was about, I think that's how I came out of it. And that's still where I am. I'm still in servant leadership. I'm still in, and I'm constantly reminding myself because now it's not so much of a struggle by the grace of God. But sometimes God still has to humble me and make me go through struggling moments so that I get back to that servant leadership that he taught me in those very moments where I was struggling. And so I have a little thing that I like to say because it was a lot of moments when I wanted to give up. And I just felt like this wasn't for me, but don't give up, give in. Give in. And give in can look like giving in time. Don't be scared to go back and work for someone else. Y'all, 2020, I remember I told you I quit 2019. I thought I was all of that, full-time entrepreneur. It was a struggle. I had to go back and get an $11 an hour job working for Hallmark, just loading the carts up in stores because I needed something that worked with me being a single parent. Wasn't making no money. It was barely gas money, my paychecks. But sometimes God will humble you to help you realize what it's all about. And it was in those stores where he began to show me. I began to meet clients. I began to meet judges, right? So that humbling experience, wearing my little apron, people coming in the store, seeing me, oh, you work here at Fry's?
Let
right?
me tell you, girl, she is telling me, like, that is where I am right now.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
but you have to.
That's where I am right now.
And I just had that on my heart, and I was like, you know what? It might be in this moment that God put me here to encourage you guys, because I just went through it. It wasn't that long ago that I was on the EBT. I was trying to figure out how I can get me an address in Cali to get some unemployment in California too, because I was just that poor.
They was doing that, They was doing the scams.
Because that's how much of a struggle that it was. I was that desperate. But even in those moments, I didn't get the unemployment in California. I wanted to, though. I was,
it was good, girl.
I was trying to find a way.
It was
but
good.
God always came to me in those moments and showed me a moment of, okay, you losing faith, you losing trust. You trying to go outside the framework now. You trying to go outside the box. So what that means is you ain't trusting me to figure it out for you or to provide. And so I go through, when I'm in these moments now, y'all, my kids will tell you, I just have little secular songs and I put my own twist to it. Like Remy Ma got the little song. She's like, I'm conceited. I got a reason. I be walking around the house. I'm conceited. I got a reason. I love Jesus. Jehovah Jireh, he's my provider. I'll just make my own little hit to it and say, yep, you darn right I'm conceited, because I know who my Father is. And I know that whatever I'm going through is meant for me to go through this. He's trying to show me something in this moment.
And when you say give in, that's where I'm at right now, because giving in for me is like selling my business. And I'm like, is it that time for me to like sell my business and take a step back and go work for someone else? But I'm so, like I said, clouded with just like decisions and communication or receiving the message from God. Like all of you like have the same thing in common that I feel like I don't, is receiving the message or even communicating to like continue to have faith or just have a message. Or like you say, you looked at your phone and you got a client right there, and same for you. It's like, I don't know what that looks like. I don't even know how to find that.
Let me tell you, the Lord you seek him and he will, you seek and you will find, right? If you seek him, he will show up. So you tell him, I'm telling you, if you just pray, Lord, I need to hear from you, and make it so plain and clear. I need to hear from you. Gideon did that, right? Gideon was
Lord,
like,
I need to hear from you.
Yeah. He was like,
let me say it right now.
He gave you a sign. Yeah. He was like, and that's why you're here, right? Because you ask and he will show up. I'm telling you, just ask and you look for him too. Look for him and you'll see. But what you just said, that all of that is exactly where I am. And that's how I stay encouraged, because now I've embraced the season that I'm in, like you said. And it's like, okay, Lord, you have me here for a reason. Why do you have me here? Now I'm embracing it. What's the lesson in this moment? And me going back to Target, it wasn't, my family thinks, oh, it's because she was down on her last, she needed to get a job. God has provided for me in crazy ways, the most miraculous, random checks in the mail, more than enough. It had nothing to do with provision. Mm-hmm. God had me, he used that as a tool to get me to Target, because he knew I wasn't going to go, because he knows my faith is just that. Like, no, Lord, you going to come through. Oh, no, if the rent's due tomorrow, no, you going to come through. He was like, no, boo. He told me before I got evicted, he was like, get a job at Target. I was like, I'm not going to get a job at Target. You said this is a promotion, not a demotion. That doesn't even make sense. And like you said, he had to humble me. He was like, and so what I'm learning in this season, it's character work. Mm-hmm. The things that I've learned in Target, I could write a book about, like, every single day. Even the humility of like, oh, she probably, the customer walking by, oh, she probably is thinking about you with your little Target job. And the Lord was like, why do you think that? Why would she think that? Because you think that. I was like, oh, I'm ugly. Like he has held the mirror up, and just some of the things, like the character work that he's doing in me, and just like little things. And so even like, let me tell y'all, the Target that I'm in doesn't have music. And so I was like, oh, Target doesn't have music. It's the only store that doesn't have music. I didn't even realize that. And the Lord was like, because that's your time with me. Usually when I'm at home, I have the TV on, even when I'm at work. I'm a worker bee. Like you said, I will work. I'll do the research. Working is not, my work ethic is not it. Right. So I'll have the TV on or music, God, worship music, or even secular music, worldly music, whatever. I'll have something on. He was like, no, I need you to be alone with me. So now it's quiet, but I didn't realize, now I'm doing inventory at other stores. Target does have music. He just placed me at one because he's just dope like that. He was like, this is our time. We're going to do this character work. And so he's showing me just little things, I know that this season is about character work. He's like, I'm preparing you, because now I'm like, oh, if you would have gave it to me in 2019, I wouldn't have had the character to sustain this. Like you said, I would have thought I was all that and I'm ready to do this and do that. And he was like, no. We're going to humble you all the way down. Right? We're going to humble you all the way down. We're going to work out some of these flaws. I'm always going to be a work in progress, right? Until the day I die. But there's some stuff that we got to get out of you right now, because where I'm taking you, especially the industry, right? Entertainment industry. Yeah. Like, no, but we got to have you all the way together before you get in. Before you get in there and get corrupted or get, it's easy to get turned around. Right. Yeah. And so what you're saying is so confirmation. Is so like, God is just so dope. I say that like 10 times a day. I'm like, Lord, you're so dope. He's just so dope, because like what you just said, that does give me hope. And that's why this is important, because I'm like, okay, confirmation. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah. Okay. On the other side of this. All right. Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I almost hear, Greg, I heard you say like, okay, where do I go next? And it sounds like the thing is like just asking God, like, what is there for you in this season? What are you supposed to get out of the season? I feel like I really resonate with that, because when I do that, when I have that conversation, okay, this for me didn't happen in business as much as it happened outside of, like, when it came to my divorce. And it's like, okay, look, this is a terrible season. What is it that you want me to get out of the season? I think the sooner you focus in on that and you start getting really intentional about learning whatever it is for you to learn and being in the moment, be giving in. I love the way you said that. It's just really doubling down on being present in that moment, because once you find what you're supposed to learn and learn it, it's kind of like, all the good cartoons, right? By the time the character just learns what's there for them, they can get out of that situation. And the sooner you learn, otherwise you're stuck in the situation until you learn it, because that lesson is what you need for where God's taking you next.
And that's still what I'm trying to identify, like even what season I'm in of like life right now.
Right.
It's a struggle. It's hard. Like every day. It's like, I'm not happy. I don't know how to get my happiness back, get back to my true self. I feel like I spend all of my time working, and that's fun when I'm there, but it's still the other problems of the business side that I still have to deal with that no one else sees. And it's like, okay, I really enjoy like being at work. I enjoy fixing the phones. I enjoy helping the customers, but the financial side and, making sure all of that is good and right. It's like, I can't do both. I don't enjoy doing that part, but that's the part that's really going to keep the business going. And it's hard to keep track of that and keep track of the stores at the same time without just like giving up and just saying, hey, I don't want to do this anymore. And like you guys said, like going to, work an $11 hour job at Hallmark or work at Target. Like, I don't think I would have a problem doing that, but also don't have the ability to do that because I still have to make sure the store's open. So it's like, I don't even have that opportunity. So I'm really confused, just trying to identify it, and asking, maybe I do need to ask and communicate more with the Lord. It's just even learning, I guess, new ways and new habits to do that.
Yeah. And even just embracing the season. It's interesting because I think when we think of shooting on ourselves, we think of the shooting on ourselves for stuff that we don't want, right? Mm-hmm. And it's interesting because sometimes we shoot on ourselves positive stuff. Like, I should be happy. And there's something wrong because I'm not. And maybe even just embracing, maybe right now I'm not supposed to be happy, but why? And then instantly exploring, maybe happy isn't the goal right now. Maybe there's some greater purpose, some greater goal out there. Maybe the lesson is the goal right now. And when we don't shoot on ourselves or try to tell ourselves that we have to show up a certain way, then we get a chance to gain perspective of why am I here? Why am I showing up like this right now? And that's when I think sometimes my aha moments come, when I realize, oh, I'm supposed to learn right now. Like, I think the lesson that was given to me when I finally decided, like, okay, this relationship isn't for me was, let go of that which doesn't serve you. But if I had been like, I had been so much time being like, it's okay, he's not here because of this, and making excuses because of that. And until I got past the making excuses and shitting on myself, like I should have a happy marriage. I should, hold on to this marriage with clenched fist because that's what I'm supposed to do. Until I let go of shitting on what my situation should look like, and I embraced, I have a failed marriage. I just do. And, and then it came to me like, you're supposed to let go of that which not serving you. And this isn't serving you. This isn't what I had for you. And then later, my ex-husband came back and admitted like, yeah, God told me to date you. He didn't give me permission to marry you.
Oh,
yeah. So that's a whole nother episode right there. Which is just around that. But, it wasn't for me. And he was trying to tell me that in all these different ways. And until I embraced that, the negative piece of the situation, or what would seem like negative, right? It's all that emotion we add to it. It just is what it is. And I stopped shooting on myself that I should have a happy marriage, or I should stay in my marriage no matter what. That's when it freed me.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Those shoulds will get you.
Yes. We don't shit on ourselves around here.
I shit myself all the time. And now that you say it, I realize it, like, as you were speaking, I should even
those shoulds.
Yeah.
Yeah, and social media will do it to you too.
Oh yeah,
social media do it to you too. That's why I'll fast from social media. I've been known to do that more than once. I'll just delete it off my phone, because you'll get into those shoulds, especially when you start looking at your friends, or you look at just other entrepreneurs or this, and it's like, dang. Especially like for me, I'm like, yo, she started her business like 2 years after me, and now she's already on like Forbes 500. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Whatever. But it's just like the comparison. You get into that comparison thing, and then you're like, well, I should, and I'm a child of God, and I read my Bible, and I worship. And you told me to start this business, Jesus. I didn't want to do this. I just wanted to make my show and be happy, right? Yeah. Like, so it's those shoulds that will get you like down in the dumps. And so, yeah, you have to take those shoulds out. And while I'm like a champion of other people's business, my friends will tell you I am the biggest cheerleader. My friends, my family, like, if you're winning, I'm winning. God is big enough to bless all of us, even if we're in the same industry, on the same block, with the same whatever. God is big enough to bless all of us. I'm going to be your cheerleader. But when you start, it's still, when you're down in the dumps and you start looking around to your right and your left and not up, those shoulds will get you.
100%. So, Joi, I know that you've talked a little bit about how you give back to the community through mentorship of other businesses. So if we were all your mentees and you were giving advice, what would you tell us? How do you keep faith, and how do you get through in a time of struggle?
I have to say, don't be afraid. And even for you, Greg, because I sat here and I thought about this. How long have you had your businesses, your two locations?
2015.
Okay, so you've been in business almost 9 years next year. That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
By the way. So you 9 years in the game, and that's where your should is probably coming in at. You're feeling like, this is year 9. I should be this, or I should be that by now. But I would say best advice is don't be afraid to go back to the basics. Even for me, I've been in business since 2012, and here I am this year redoing a business plan creating a business plan for the very first time. I just started my business on a wing and a prayer, and it's been successful by the grace of God, but highs, lows. But now I realize, like, it's real. It's a real thing here. Like, it ain't just started. No, we got to get professional. We got to get operational. So don't be afraid. One, faith without works is dead. And we're talking about faith, and everything is aligned with my faith. But just know that, you also have to put in work. And that work can be at the foundational piece. You can be praying to God and praying for clients, and you can be tithing and doing all of that. But if the foundation is not rock solid, like that was my issue. I had a good skill. I had a good business. I'm a people person. I know how to talk to people. I know how to teach. But the foundation wasn't there. And I just started this business and the foundation just kept being lopsided. So now I have to go back, even though I've been in business all of these years, and I got to create a business plan now, because now I see, okay, I'm serious. I'm really trying to grow. I'm trying to be a franchise. Like, this is a real deal here. And I got to have, if I want to reach out to investors and ask for money to help me in my time of struggles, I got to have a business plan. They got to know what I'm doing. So don't be afraid to go back to the basics. Don't feel like because you've been in business 9 years that you know all of this. You did all of that 9 years ago. No, every year you can do a new business plan. You can do a new business plan to flow with the market. The market changes every year. So your business plan, even if you had one, and I don't know, but your business plan from 2015 is not going to work in the market for 2023. So go back to the basics. Go back to the basics and start with your why. Of why did you actually start the business? Start there, and from there, work backwards. What were you thinking when you started this business? What was your idea? What were your expectations? Now we got to form a plan, form our operations, form our procedures to lead to that why of why we originally started it. So that's my biggest advice I'll say. And I don't know anything about the foundation, how you started, why you started it. But I know you're successful because you got 2 locations, whether they're struggling or not. That's a successful businessman.
And you've been in business for
and you've
so
been
long.
in business
Yes.
since
That's
2015.
like saying a lot.
Yeah.
So for me, when I hear these stories and I talk to business owners like you, I'm usually having a conversation about foundation. Like, let's start from the basics. Let's go back to a business plan. Let's determine who is our target audience. Who are we marketing to? Let's develop some strategies around there. And usually that coupled with your prayer and your faith, a little fasting too. I don't know if you got fasting going on. I can help you. I can help you because there was some moments where I did some fast where God had to really show up and show out for me in those fasting times. But going back to the basics coupled with your faith, that's the key to success. That's the best advice I have for you, Greg, or any other entrepreneurs that's struggling right now.
Thank you. I definitely need to work on my foundation.
I love that you say that, because I feel like that's something that no matter where you are in your business journey is super applicable, because so business accelerators are a great way to do that. And I know that you mentor in one. So wherever people are listening from, finding that business accelerator that will help them take their business to the next level. And here in Arizona, we have a program called We Rise.
We Rise, Local First Arizona sponsors this program for Black business owners. It's a 6-month business accelerator program. I'm a business mentor. I'm currently with my 4th mentee. So we're in the 7th cohort. I've been around since cohort 3. But there's so many other programs in every city, not just here in Phoenix. You want to affiliate yourself. If you're a business owner that's struggling, you want to affiliate yourself with some type of business mentorship, some type of accelerator. And what that's going to require is commitment.
Yes.
So you may not think that you have the capacity for it, but you're going to have to find a way to have the capacity. And something like We Rise would be great for you because it's online. It's very kind of user-friendly for a busy entrepreneur, but you get in line with a program that is designed to help you grow and teach you things to help you grow. And then not only that, but look at the network. That's how me and Jessica, we're sitting here today, but you develop that strong network through those resources as well.
Yeah, I don't have any groups or communities that I'm a part of, so I definitely probably should do that too.
Yeah, so we got to see, Jessica, we have to work with Greg here, because I would say I'm listening to you and I'm hearing your struggles, but I'm also hearing some things that you're lacking there. And that's one of them, your networks. It ain't who it's what, so that's how we stay successful. Even in me, I'm to the point, I don't market now. I was telling Jessica last time, I don't market, I don't advertise. We get a new cohort through We Rise every 6 months. And every 6 months, Anointed Hands Tax gets new clients. But every 6 months, we build a new network where we all just support one another. So just even being affiliated with something like that, even if it is slow, well, now you got this new network where, guess what? Everybody in that network is going to your stores and they're supporting your business just based on you being in the network, nothing else.
Yeah. So getting back to basics, I hear that piece around building that community, that network. Any other words of advice for other entrepreneurs that might be struggling out there?
For me, again, it always goes back to faith. So for me, it's always going to go back to like, okay, I'm going to just be still. Sometimes I just have to be still, put everything on hold and focus on God. And I've done that more than once. Like, I don't worry about the business. Business has to be done and there's things that have to be, but sometimes I just got to tune everything out and be like, all right, Lord, me and you today. Like, I trusted whatever needed to get done yesterday. I know that this is more important and you're going to honor that I'm choosing to spend my time with you, tune into you and focus on you because I desperately need to hear from you. So praying, fasting, just for me, also encouraging, you got to learn to encourage yourself. Mm-hmm. Like that has been the biggest thing for me because there are times when you can't find nobody to encourage you. And I can't wait for somebody to encourage me because I need it right now. Mm-hmm. So just encouraging yourself, like, nope, I can do this. No, I can do all things through Christ. Like saying my scriptures out loud so that I hear them, not just in my heart. Like my ears need to hear it, right? Or writing it. Like I have a index card, a thing of index cards that have some of my faith scriptures on them. And when I need to, sometimes it's every day, I'll just read them through and I have an affirmation that's like scripture filled, but it's just kind of a declaration of like who I feel God has called me to be. And I'll read that through, but I'll just read them out loud. So I see it, I hear it, I say it, it gets in my spirit deep down. And that's really how I stay encouraged. I watch a lot of like either sermons online or just people that I admire who are successful. I'll listen to their stories. And like you said, go back to the basics. So like my business plan. So when I wrote my business plan for my tech startup, the Lord led me to have a scripture for each point in your business plan. So for your executive summary, I have a scripture for, competition. I have a scripture for market analysis. I have a scripture. So when I'm struggling in those, I have an anchor. Okay, what is my word for this particular thing, right? Mm-hmm. For this particular thing. And I'll recite that and just get it down. But for me, everything that I do is like very faith-based, so that's the advice that I can give. That's all I know. I can't,
Yeah.
And I'm still a work in progress. I'm still in the process. So I don't have a success story to speak from. I just have in the moment.
Yes. I'm ready for it. I'm ready to hear both of your, okay, when we get to the,
right?
Yes.
It's coming. I know it and I feel that it's coming because I'm just feeling in my heart where y'all at. I was there. So I just know that means it's coming soon.
No, I'm looking at you. I'm like, it's coming.
I need the testimony.
Yes. So I just want to thank all of y'all for being so vulnerable and having this conversation today. I mean, even this conversation's healing because I know I have my moments where I have doubts in my business as well. So thank you for joining. Thank you for being vulnerable. And thank you just for having the conversation and sharing so someone can learn from your journey.
Thank you for the platform.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
And thank y'all for sharing because I've been blessed.
Yes,
so
thank you for sharing. Yeah.
Thank y'all for sharing. This is always an opportunity for us too.
Yes. So if you like content like this, or you're looking to grow in your faith, you're looking to grow in your business, check out some of our other business related episodes and stay tuned with us. Subscribe, follow so that you can hear more content, authentic conversations on faith. We look forward to hearing you in the next one.